Part 123. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 1224. Hessa is still dead. Novel www.lwxm. Under the majesty of Jia Yan's clone, not even Kama dared to refute his murderous intention. Then Jia Yan raised his hand and struck a knife with his hand. It was so powerful that in the eyes of the entire Tadia kingdom, it looked like a terrifying sub-level powerhouse that could not resist. It was just like a baby without the slightest backhand power of energy, killing with one blow. Not long after, Jia Yan and Kama changed places. Lord Jia Yan, after more than 10 years, you have become so powerful. This is a small garden. Karma is walking in it, and his beautiful big eyes are constantly shining with brilliance. She seemed to be thinking about how to use Jia Yan's strength, or in other words, how to use Jia Yan without making Jia Yan disgusted. Of course, her biggest doubt at this time was Jia Yan's true strength. A clone can easily kill a sub-level powerhouse. Could it be said that Jia Yan's true body has really become a semi-star level? And it's the kind of existence that is extremely advanced at the half-star level. Thinking of this, Kama's eyes became even more joyful. You must know that in this northern star field, except for the 2-star level powerhouses who came more than 10 years ago, there is no permanent breath-level existence at this time. Judging from Jia Yan's ability to fight a half-star when he was at the venerable level, if he reaches the half-star level, he will definitely be an earth-shattering person. If Tadia Kingdom gets his help again, it will definitely be able to reverse the decline of these years and reverse all unequal contracts. Karma felt like she was having too much hope. Jia Yan might just come here to stay for a while this time, and he wouldn't have any interest in the small country of Tadia. After all, a similar scene happened more than 10 years ago. Unexpectedly, Jia Yan seemed to be able to guess her thoughts. Jia Yan's clone floated in mid-air, keeping pace with Kama, who was already more than 30 meters tall. Kama, whatever you want to do, just go ahead and do it. I will stay for a while this time, and I will discuss things with you in detail. Even if my real body leaves in the future, this clone will protect you in Tadia Kingdom for a long time. Jia Yan said lightly. Sir, what did you say? You will leave this clone in our country of Tadia, this. Kama seemed to have heard the most incredible thing in the world, and asked with his eyes widened. Yes, the strength of this clone is not of much help to my real body. It doesn't matter if I stay here with you. Jia Yan nodded to confirm. A clone with such strength can easily kill his clone, but it is said that it is not of much help to the real body. Kama was almost stunned when he heard Jia Yan's words. Such a terrifying clone. Jia Yan said that it was of no help. She could hardly imagine how far Jia Yan's real body had reached now. Okay, Karma, that's all I'm saying. Whatever you want to do, just go ahead and do it. I'll do it all. As for what I want you to do, I'll talk about it after you finish handling these things. Jia Yan smiled and said to Kama, who was in disbelief. Okay. Karma looked deeply at Jia Yan in front of him, and then nodded. The Empress was sighing. She originally thought that after being the Empress for more than 10 years, if she saw Jia Yan, she would definitely surprise him, because she has changed a lot, not only in terms of strength, but also in temperament and other aspects. The change. But she didn't expect that when she really saw Jia Yan, just saw Jia Yan's clone, she would find that her transformation was completely weak. Jia Yan has changed even more. Her strength has reached a level that she may not have dared to imagine, and even her temperament and self-confidence are faintly reborn. Compared with him, I really am not from the same world as him. Kama looked at Jia Yan's clone next to her, who seemed to be much younger than her, and then felt a sense of disappointment, even helplessness, quietly flashed. Her special feelings for Jia Yan have always existed, but now she understands that the gap between the two parties is getting farther and farther, and even though she is the empress, she has no chance. On this day, the entire Taia kingdom was like a wild beast that suddenly went crazy. The Red Pavilion Force, Haisa, the powerful noble force, lost the authority of your country in front of our empress, and was even so arrogant that he dared to attack our empress. He has been killed by us. At the same time, we solemnly protest your actions of bullying our country. We hereby make the following requests to you. To reach the empire, your empire has gradually encroached on our territory in the past 10 years. Now we are asking you for territorial compensation, as well as the lease payment of those territories for the past 10 years. The total amount is. To end your power, you plundered our country's resources last time. Now, in addition to asking for the resources we plundered before, we are also asking for triple compensation. Dozens of claims were floating like snowflakes to the entire central area of the Northern Star Territory. Thai Asia is really crazy. If you are just seeking justice against one force that has an unequal treaty, you may be able to succeed under the whirlpool of other forces. But sending similar claims for compensation to dozens of forces and countries at the same time can only mean one thing. That is, the entire Taia kingdom is desperate for their lives, they want to subjugate the country. If you want to fight against dozens of forces at the same time, even the largest force in the central area of the Northern Star Territory, the mercenary organization branch, would not dare to do so. Why would the country of Pacific Asia dare? There has to be a certain level of risking one's life. Launching a claim against dozens of forces at the same time is almost funnier than seeking death. Taia Kingdom, although its technological brains are good, its managers are not so smart. Since they are seeking death, there is no need for this country to exist. The Bella people can just become our slaves from now on. Yes, there is that empress. We call her empress to give her face, but she really thinks of herself as the number one figure. She actually dares to declare war on dozens of our large forces at the same time. This is so stupid. No one in the headquarters of each power took seriously the claims or severe condemnation documents sent from the Pacific country. Then the next day, they communicated with each other and finally issued a joint statement. The Bella clan of Taia Kingdom has been an outsider since ancient times. Our Northern Star Territory forces took pity on their people and gave them a place to live. Now Taia Kingdom does not want to repay, and actually accuses our 32 families of plundering them. Now, after consultation with our 32 forces, they all agree that there is no need for the existence of the Pacific Kingdom. Starting today, the 32 families have formed an alliance and rushed to the Pacific Kingdom starfield to completely eradicate this outsider. This announcement, like a depth charge, spread throughout the entire Northern Star Territory almost instantly. You must know that although there are many battles in the Northern Star Territory, there are still very few wars in the Central Region. However, this time, 32 Central Region forces actually declared war on a country. This situation has not been encountered in the Northern Star Territory for at least hundreds of years. However, no force or country has any sympathy for the Pacific Kingdom. After all, Taia Kingdom is indeed seeking death. A force that originally used science and technology as a flattery weapon and could only exist by playing tricks on dozens of forces actually dared to be so arrogant as to provoke 32 forces. There is no other explanation for this except seeking death. Haha, this Taia country is really looking for death. Everyone can guess that they may have some trump cards, such as developing a powerful technological weapon. But what other trump cards they have, don't come one by one. To deal with 32 of them in one breath, no matter how big the trump card is, it's useless. I think so. Unless there is a powerful semi-star powerhouse in Taia, there is no possibility of peace talks. When they learned that Taia was the first to provoke, and then was immediately declared a war by 32 forces, no force thought that Taia would be spared, and even most of the forces were still ridiculing them. Any outsiders are just excuses. In this Northern Star territory, there are few forces that are indigenous to the original Northern Star territory. The reason why the Bella tribe is bullied is very simple, just because they are weak. Just like the Kudatan tribe, which is rumored to be related to the Bella tribe. They were also weak because of their weakness. As a result, their main planet was destroyed and they became the targets of everyone. Wandering race. Every force in the Northern Star region is watching to see how the Pacific Kingdom will be completely torn apart by the 32 forces. No one would think that Tadia Kingdom can survive under the combined forces of 32 forces, even if everyone knows that Tadia Kingdom must have got some trump card, but no matter how powerful the trump card is, there are 32 forces. Is the coalition of forces powerful? In the Kingdom of Tadia, the past few days have also been turbulent, with rumors flying everywhere. What's wrong? Why does our Empress Kama do this? Is she really as crazy as the rumors say? It's over. Our claim was only issued yesterday. 32 of their forces actually declared war on us today. It may not be long before the coalition forces come over. This time we are dead. The mistakes made by the Empress and those high-ranking officials should be found in Chiyuan. Why should we commoners have to bear them? I don't want to die. One after another, even if they are already very patriotic citizens of Tadia, they cannot continue to be patriotic in the face of such high-level decisions that seek death. Many protests began. There is no way, most of the citizens of Thai Asia still don't want to die, especially if they are killed by senior officials inexplicably, they don't want to. But this situation could no longer be reversed. Just 3 days after the 32 major forces announced the declaration of war, the forces of the Red Pavilion came to the border of Tadia Kingdom, with an astonishing force of 500 warships pressing down on the border. Report. 500 battleships is already very terrifying. After so many years of development, Tadia Kingdom has only developed a regular army consisting of more than 5,000 battleships based on the original giant Mosquito fleet. These more than 5,000 warships have to defend everywhere. Facing a fleet of more than 500 warships, there will definitely be no more than 500 ships that can fight against it. More terrible news is yet to come. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 1225. Just 2 hours after the Hongguan Force Fleet appeared, another 800-ship fleet appeared in another direction of Tadia Kingdom, which could reach the Empire. Even more, from further away, there was intelligence coming in. Fleets from dozens of other forces, totaling more than 20,000 ships, were heading towards Tadia Kingdom in panic, like a catastrophic disaster. For a time, everyone in Tadia was in danger, and everyone thought that the country would be destroyed this time. Humanoid species such as the Bella clan are treated like public enemies in the Northern Star territory. It is only because the Bella clan has technology as weapons that they can survive. But this time, no one thought that Tadia could escape the crisis of national subjugation. My Lady Empress, another 300 warships from the Turan forces have arrived from the west. Now the number of fleets surrounding our country has reached a full 25,000. You said that we have a trump card this time. What is that trump card? You can take it out now. Yes, Queen Empress, I beg you to stop pretending. We said a few days ago that that kind of compensation request is too much. Now look at it, it actually allowed the coalition forces of various forces to come to the door. Recently, the anti-war sentiment in the entire country has been extremely high. Gao, if you have any trump card, just tell me. In the Tadia Kingdom's meeting hall, the atmosphere was extremely solemn. Even in the meeting hall, there were several strong-looking figures with a calm aura, almost ready to take action. In this situation where the country is almost destroyed, the only way they can think of to extinguish the enemy's anger is to let the empress of their country, come out and let the other side deal with it. Only then can this crisis be extinguished. Kama, who was sitting in a high position, just looked at the group of ministers below. Next to her is a woman with the same extraordinary temperament. She was the great contributor to Kama's former restoration of the country, the wife of Kama's uncle, and the current military and political minister, Duchess Findalai. It is precisely with the help of this Duchess and the huge military power she has in her hands that Kama has not been emptied of power during the more than 10 years he has led the Pacific Kingdom. It was only with her support that Kama made an arbitrary and provocative claim statement before, and was able to pass it against all odds. But at this time, even with her help, the group of ministers below could not restrain themselves. After all, no one was willing to die together with an emperor who was like a madman. Facing countless voices of protest from the audience, Karma and Findalai looked at each other lightly, and then both smiled. Everyone, it's not that I was unwilling to tell my trump card before, but what I said is that if the enemy had obtained the information in advance, they would not have given us such a good opportunity to counterattack, but it is almost time now. Calculating the time, that adult should take action. Just watch. Kama's faint voice rang in the ears of all the ministers, making them all startled. It's time. That adult. What exactly does that mean? Among the ministers, only a few who had been promoted from the original Earth fleet were shocked when they heard Kama actually say the word sir. In all these years, they have never seen Kama call someone sir in such a respectful manner. Except, that adult. Could it be? The ministers' expressions were shocked at this moment, and then they looked at each other, and they all quickly became more respectful. If it is really that person who returns, Taya Kingdom will really take off from now on. As for Kama in front of them, they no longer dare to look down upon her casually, because with that support, she will gain even more terrifying power. As for that lord, he had such terrifying strength more than 10 years ago. Now he may be even stronger. He may be able to join the ranks of the strongest semi-star level experts in the northern star field. The ministers in the hall did not expect that the results they wanted would appear so soon. While they were still talking in the palace hall of the Kingdom of Taya, the coalition forces of the two major forces in the west of the Kingdom of Taya had just converged. The Turan forces and a squadron of the Red Pavilion forces converged in one place. Haha, Turan force, why did your force send more than 300 warships this time? Is it that your force has already sunk and no longer has the strength it once had? That's wrong, our forces just don't want to take advantage of the situation. Your Red Hall likes this kind of thing the most, so of course you will use all means. According to me, your force is the force that needs to be destroyed most. Although the fleets of the two major forces are together, the senior officials of both sides do not have much intention to cooperate and are just quarreling with each other. After all, these two fleets are heading in the same direction. If there is any harvest at that time, they will have to compete, or they will fall out. Of course, they will not look good at this time. Just as the two fleets were moving forward almost noisily, a shadow appeared quickly, interrupting the quarrel between the two fleets. Above the sky, brilliance flashed. The shadow that suddenly appeared from the starry sky was like a bullet, flying past the battleship group. Puff 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 puff. Endless explosions sounded inside these battleships. Then among the two fleets, the main ship seemed to be still noisy, and this was just the reaction. What's going on? Why is the battleship in front not moving? It seems a little out of control. No, enemy attack. The detector quickly discovered something was wrong ahead and quickly issued a warning. The top fleet commander, who was quarreling between the two sides, was also shocked to realize the situation at this time. What? Enemy attack? No enemy ship was found at all. Why is there an enemy attack? Is it a mistake? The warships in the front row of the fleet were all wiped out almost instantly. What the hell is going on? The senior leaders of the fleets on both sides could not imagine at this moment that the fleet they led had half of its ships destroyed without making a sound. But what exactly led to the demise of the battleship? He is a strong man. It's so scary. His speed is too fast. The battleships in his flight path are all destroyed by the brainwave power without using his hands. This strength is at least a high-level sub-level. Second level? How is it possible? Could it be that he is a strong man from the Taia kingdom, but it is impossible for the Taia kingdom to have such a strong man? No, this level exists. It seems that it is not an ordinary secondary level. It is too strong. Just when the top leaders of the two fleets were frightened, the rapidly approaching shadow covered a distance of hundreds of thousands of kilometers in an instant and flew through the two fleets. Including the main ships of the two fleets did not even fire a single cannonball to counterattack, and were completely silent at this time. Died. After the two merged, the fleet numbered more than 500. After this strong man flew past like the wind, the two fleets were completely destroyed without even having time to fire a single shot. And the shadow, after seeing that there was no longer any shadow of a battleship in front of it, stopped and glanced towards the rear. He stopped and his figure was immediately visible. Black hair and black eyes. If it's not Jia Yan's clone, then who is it? The country of Taia is not very big. I can use my super-fast ship to travel to both sides in almost an hour, so it is very simple to fight these intruders alone. Jia Yan's clone looked behind him, and after feeling that no living person had slipped through the net, he stepped directly into the space in front of him. It was his super-fast ship inside. As soon as his clone entered, the ship started to move directly. In less than 10 minutes, the battleship coalition in the other direction was directly destroyed by his seemingly insignificant but actually powerful clone. Just as Jia Yan was exerting his strength, on Taia Star, the capital of Taia Kingdom, a group of ministers and Kama who were waiting for news in the main hall received the first good news. This, Your Majesty the Empress Gongzi, the good news ahead is that a strong man suddenly appeared to help us completely wipe out the coalition forces between the Red Hall in the west and the Turan forces. Moreover, none of the battleships were damaged, and they are completely able to provide services for us in the future. Used by our army. What? There is help from a strong person. Several ministers looked at Kama, who was sitting high, in shock. Seeing that Kama and Findalai next to her didn't change much in their demeanor, they realized that this strong man was Empress Kama's so-called trump card. Empress Kama actually has such a strong person as her backing. Fortunately, we didn't act impulsively, and otherwise it would be terrible. But this strong person is at least a second level, right? Why would Empress Kama know such a strong person? Each of the ministers was extremely shocked at this moment, but among these ministers, the senior officials of the former Earth fleet were stunned for a moment, and then became more respectful to Kama. Only they guessed who the so-called strong man was. Your Majesty Kama, this strong man should be a friend invited by His Majesty. I wonder, what is the name of this strong man? A high-ranking old man from the Bella tribe, after being silent for a while, also had some speculation in his mind, and then looked at Kama on the high platform, and asked with a gleam in his eyes. That's right, who is this strong man? According to the intelligence, he is a sub-level, but if it is only a sub-level, it is not enough. Even if he can defend one enemy, he cannot defend the enemies in all directions. However, if he is a well-known strong man in the second level and has powerful flying skills, it is not impossible to help us defend our country by assisting us with our resistance. So, Lord Kama, please tell me, who is he? One by one, after the old man spoke, the ministers thought of the key point of the problem. They looked at Kama in the high position one by one, and then spoke with questioning expressions on their faces. They all want to know who the strong man, or the trump card, invited by His Majesty Kama is. He. Under the gaze of each minister, Kama smiled slightly. Her red lips opened and closed, and she looked lightly at the ministers below who had wanted her to take responsibility for the war. Although the people below had been respectful to her over the years, she knew that few of them really obeyed her. Do you want to know his name? Then I'll tell you. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 1226. Phone reading. On this day, the entire senior management of Tadia Kingdom seemed to be drunk. Everyone came home and laughed stupidly. Pinswho.com. Some ministers' family members asked them why, but these people did not give any reasons. Because the Empress of Tadia Kingdom, who is also Her Majesty, asked them to speak as little as possible after they came out. Although that existence was invincible, she wanted the enemies not to run away after hearing her name, so she had to keep it secret at least for the time being. However, several ministers couldn't bear it and whispered that person's name to their family members. And their family members couldn't help but secretly passed it on to their relatives or close subordinates. Then, those who got the news quickly spread the news. And this rumor, like a virus, has spread like a wave and is about to spread throughout the entire Pacific Kingdom. Originally, this situation caused the intelligence agencies a headache and even made them furious. If the information spreads, what will happen to the Lord's idea of killing more enemy troops? Who is responsible? But they didn't think about it at all, or they didn't even dare to think about it. The movement of that being was so fast. The coalition fleet to the west of the Turan forces and the Red Pavilion forces was suddenly wiped out in less than half an hour. Two more similar coalition fleets were destroyed directly in the adjacent area, almost in no particular order. The fleets of the three forces before and after were destroyed so fast that by the time the news they sent back reached the other fleets, the terrifying strong man had already destroyed the coalition fleets of the two forces. What? A powerful man who doesn't know who he is, started from the west of Tadia Kingdom, killed all the way, and actually quickly cleared several coalition forces within 20 million kilometers. Is this a sub-level? It can be considered a sub-level. The speed of killing is too fast. It seems that he is not an ordinary sub-level strong man, and there must be some kind of mysterious strong hand. Fast-moving flying tools. It seems that this is the trump card of Tadia country. The leaders of the fleets almost all understood at this time that the Tadia Kingdom relied on this sub-level powerhouse who suddenly appeared. This Tadia Kingdom is too arrogant. They hired an extraordinary second-level powerhouse. They definitely intend to give us a little pain, and then they will have the confidence to negotiate, so that we will not dare to continue to attack them. That's right. A sub-level can't make a difference, not to mention each of our forces, which one doesn't have a strong sub-level? Tadia Kingdom thought that our action this time would not send out sub-level, and wanted to use the sub-level official gave us a blow, and in the future we can use him as an excuse to negotiate peace with us. Tadia Kingdom thought so well that they actually wanted to use this exaggerated battle to show that they also have sub-level powerhouses, and then said that they are equal to more than 30 of our forces, so that we should not continue to deal with him. Even the status will be greatly improved as a result. The commanders of the invading fleets from each force instantly guessed the true intention of Tadia Kingdom's behavior. They believe that Tadia Kingdom's last resort is indeed powerful, even beyond their imagination. Tadia Kingdom must have thought that their 32 coalition forces must have not dispatched any sub-level warriors this time. After all, in such a small battle, sending a sub-level warrior would definitely be overkill and using cannons to swat flies. But Tadia Kingdom has a second-level strong man, and this strong man has super fast movement means, so even if they have tens of thousands of battleships, they will not be able to win. As long as this attack is blocked, Tadia Nation will have the confidence to present conditions to the alliances as a victor. After all, a sub-level, even among these 32 forces, is an extremely terrifying powerhouse. Haha, Taya Kingdom is indeed extremely smart, but they didn't think of anything at all. That is, this time, out of our 32 families, 3 of them have dispatched sub-level powerhouses to join the battle, right? Fortunately, we are cautious. Suddenly, in certain fleets of these 32 forces, a total of 3 terrifying auras suddenly appeared at the same time when they received the news that there were also sub-level powerhouses in Taya Kingdom. That's right, this time, 3 of the 32 forces actually dispatched sub-level powerhouses out of caution. After all, in their view, Taya's strength lies in its scientific and technological capabilities, so it's hard to come up with anything powerful. In terms of combat technology, if there is no strong person in charge of the secondary level, the coalition forces may suffer a loss. The trump card of this Taya Kingdom is not technology, but a strong person at the second level. Let the 3 of us gather together quickly and let's see what kind of second level that guy is. The 3 sub-level powerhouses originally attacked in the same place, but when they were not far away, these 3 powerhouses quickly converged together. At this time, the information that the coalition of 32 forces was defeated by the mysterious strong man came like snowflakes one after another, making almost every remaining fleet of forces become solemn. That mysterious sub-level person's fast-moving means are too terrifying. The Taya Kingdom must have developed some technology that can allow a strong man to move quickly within the Taya Kingdom. Otherwise, where else in the world can such a fast movement method be found? Yes, even this strong man may have increased his attack methods on the fleet because of Taya Kingdom's methods. After all, even we may not be able to destroy so many battleships so easily. The 3 sub-level monsters quickly gathered together. They discussed the second-level powerhouse. The more they talked, the more they felt that they had discovered the method of the mysterious powerhouse, and then they all felt relieved. After all, if the other party borrows technological means, it may not be useful against strong men like them, let alone 3 of them. Come on, that mysterious sub-level expert, if you are at the same level, let's see if you can fight the 3 of us by yourself. The 3 monsters are full of confidence. However, even though they were confident, fleets around them were being destroyed, and allied forces were being quickly annihilated by the mysterious strongman. This situation still caused a huge rout of the remaining allied forces. At this time, it is the turn of the Pacific Army to take action. The defeated coalition forces and horses were like defeated weak chickens. They no longer had a trace of combat effectiveness. The Pacific Kingdom fleet was divided into countless groups and launched, chasing them crazily and killing them to pieces. As for the mysterious strong man, after almost destroying 20 coalition troops, he finally reached the final place where the opponent's army merged in panic. Buzz. The entire space is torn apart. Jia Yan cloned himself and stepped out of the space. He looked lightly at the starry sky in front of him. Haha, after destroying 20 coalition forces, did the remaining coalition forces finally react and gather in one place to form a huge fleet of 7,000 battleships? Jia Yan looked at the extremely large fleet of ships in front of him, like stars twinkling in the starry sky. Countless supplies were moving among the battleships. There were even many strong men who had reached the starry sky level and the venerable level, nervously moving among the battleships. Flying around. 7,000 battleships is already an extremely terrifying number of battleships, and in this fleet, according to Jia Yan's perception, there are also many strong ones. If it were the former Jia Yan clone, it would be extremely difficult to break through such a fleet. Maybe if you are not careful, you will be killed by the opponent. But is he now the same person he was before? The real body has become a star, and together with the clones, the total amount of power they possess is almost the same, but the nature of the power and the perception of power are completely better than before. If I were my previous clone, I might have hesitated, but now I... Jia Yan smiled, without any further observation, but took one step forward. Boom! Puff 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 puff. Almost the next moment he took a step, no one could react. He had already entered the battleship pile in the front row of the fleet. The power of his brainwaves began to circulate, and the sounds of countless creatures' heads or vital organs exploding were directly heard. Sounded. What's going on? Are you here? Why, I didn't have time to realize it. Inside these 7,000 battleships, 3 sub-level creatures were only belatedly aware of Jia Yan's attack after he launched the attack. Their demeanor changed drastically, and because before Jia Yan launched his attack, they did not notice the other party's arrival at all. This sub-level strongman is even more terrifying than we imagined before, but don't be afraid, there are 3 of us. How can he be stronger than us when we join forces? The 3 major sub-levels, full of confidence at the same time, came out hand in hand. At the same time that they appeared, Jia Yan's tiny earthly appearance had already quickly flown through the entire group of 3,000 battleships and arrived at the center of the group. He just happened to encounter 3 major sub-level creatures flying out. Impossible. 3,000 battleships were destroyed. He. How long has it been since then to destroy 3,000 warships? How did he do it? When the 3 sub-level creatures saw Jia Yan's small body, they also felt that the 3,000 fleets behind Jia Yan had lost most of their life breath. Even a powerful person of the venerable level was not hindered by anything. After being flown by this powerful person, he died under the bombardment of brainwave power. Don't be afraid. No matter how strong he is just one person. Let's join forces. Suddenly, a sub-level powerhouse roared angrily, and then attacked Jia Yan's clone head-on, regardless of Jia Yan's fear. As a sub-level powerhouse, this creature knows very well that they cannot escape when faced with a being who is fast and has seemingly amazing strength, because there is no way to escape. It's better to try together now. In their opinion, the opponent is a small creature that is so small that it can be ignored. Generally speaking, this kind of creature is much weaker than a huge creature, no matter how strong it is. If they join forces, there might be another chance. The other 2 sub-level powerhouses thought the same thing, and now they roared towards Jia Yan's clone. This book comes from pinswho.com. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 1227. Oh, are they sub-level? Although there are 3 of them, their strength is not even comparable to that of geniuses with ordinary talents. I can kill as many sub-levels as there are. The clone smiled lightly, and then didn't stop at all. Baidu search Chinese, Luan novels. The 3 major sub-level creatures that rushed towards Jia Yan launched an attack just as Jia Yan was flying towards him. 2 strong men attacked with brainwave power, and the other was a tyrannical creature with a physical body. They came to Jia Yan in an instant and punched him. The 3 sub-levels cooperated, and the level of terror was no less than that of a half-star strong man with weak weaknesses. The whole world erupted with the sound of space vibration, which was extremely shocking. But this strength is simply not enough. Before their attacks could hit Jia Yan's body, their expressions were all shaken. Jia Yan was like lightning, rushing past them in an instant without even looking back. This is definitely not the first pass. Just after the last sub-level creature was escaped by Jia Yan, he spat out these last words with great difficulty. Then, explode and die. Even the 3 major sub-levels are not the enemies of Jia Yan's clone. Swish, swish, swish. In the vacuum, countless brilliance flashed continuously. This is an explosion of brilliance. After the death of the strong men of the 3 major sub-passes, the remaining 4,000 coalition warships concentrated in one place were more like lambs waiting to be slaughtered. It didn't take long before they were completely slaughtered by Jia Yan alone. Puff. When the sound of everyone exploding was heard in the last battleship. In the entire starry sky, there are more than 7,000 warships, most of which appear to be floating in the starry sky with intact appearance. However, all the creatures in these battleships were actually dead. He was killed by Jia Yan alone, who was bombarded with brainwave power. Looking at the countless wreckage of warships around him, Jia Yan snorted coldly. At this point, he alone has completed the feat of defeating 32 coalition armies with one force. But Jia Yan didn't feel proud or happy. Because to him, this kind of fleet is not the enemy that he was extremely afraid of before, but just ants that are destined to die. 32 families, this matter is not over yet. Jia Yan looked at the starry sky in the distance. Then he took out his communicator. I have already dealt with these guys. You decide which force to deal with first. I will go there now. What? You have already solved it? Oh my god. Kama's face appeared on the other end of the communicator. Even though she was prepared, she still couldn't hide her shock after hearing Jia Yan's words, and her rosy mouth opened slightly. She knew that in the previous battle scene, Jia Yan had successfully bulldozed all the enemies, but this time she knew about the enemy battle group, which numbered 7,000, and even intelligence came that among these 7,000 battleships, it seemed that there are also mysterious strong men, and she wanted to send some combatants to support Jia Yan, but she didn't expect that those battleships were still flying, and Jia Yan would take care of them. This, Mr. Jia Yan, if you still have the physical strength now, I think the first one to deal with is the Red Hall forces. The Red Hall forces have bullied our country of Taia the most in recent years. Karma was not shocked for long. After quickly accepting Jia Yan's fighting power, a ruthless look appeared in her eyes. The Colosseum, right? It's 120 million kilometers away from the border of Taia Kingdom. Wait for me for a long time and you will hear the good news. Jia Yan turned on his smart brain, checked the location of the Red Hall, then turned off the communication, and after finding the direction, entered the subspace. And after he left for half an hour, a Taia Kingdom fleet of 1,000 ships cautiously arrived at the battlefield. But what caught their eyes was not the enemy army they imagined, but the sky is full of battleship wreckage. Oh my god, is this the strength of that strong man? Is he really at the second level? No matter, look, there are so many intact battleships. With them, the strength of our Pacific fleet will be greatly enhanced. Move quickly and drag them all back. The fleet that originally came to join the battle with a fatal determination turned into a tug fleet and was extremely busy. While the fleet was still towing the warship, the neighboring force of the Pacific Kingdom, the Red Pavilion, which was more than 100 million kilometers away, heard about the outcome of the war on the Pacific Kingdom. Haha, what about the intelligence from the front line? Do we still need to see this intelligence? It must be the Taia who dared to resist us and was completely defeated by us. On the main star of the Red Pavilion, dozens of powerful beings in charge gathered in one place, chatting and laughing constantly. For them, attacking Taia Kingdom is almost a sure thing. Even if Taia Kingdom has any means, it will never be able to resist their 32 coalition forces. Not to mention that there are 3 secretly fighting within this coalition. With the 3 of them, any uncontrollable accident can be directly wiped out by the 3 of them. At this time, they suddenly saw an intelligence creature reporting in a panic, and they all laughed and thought that the information would not be beyond their expectations. But just when they were all convinced, the intelligence agent creature began to scream in a cry. My lords, this is not a victory. It is a disastrous defeat. He almost roared, attracting the attention of all the powerful men in the entire scene. Huh? A disastrous defeat? How is it possible? It's a serious crime to deceive military intelligence. Don't talk nonsense suddenly, a strong creature said with a gloomy expression. I'm not talking nonsense. Look, adults, the 32 coalition armies were almost completely wiped out. 3 sub-level strongmen, including Lord Hawkeye in our force, all died in the battle. It was a disastrous defeat. Puff. As soon as the intelligence creature finished roaring, a burst of brainwave power exploded, killing it. Damn it for disturbing the morale of our army. The one who emits the power of brainwaves is the most central creature above all the powerful creatures. After killing the intelligence creature, he used his brainwave power to pick up the intelligence message from the dead creature's claws. Looking at the information above, the creature's face slowly changed, and then its eyes widened. The strong man on the other side who took action is actually so terrifying. Not good. He might come to attack our Red Hall forces. Pass the news quickly and use all defenses. The highest level creature in the Red Hall had just spoken these words, and then he heard a loud explosion of brainwave power. Puff. This one, who was still giving orders at the top of the Red Hall, had his whole head explode like a watermelon. Late. And just when his head exploded completely, an extremely small figure slowly appeared in the main stars meeting hall. His appearance is similar to that of the Bella tribe, but his hair and eyes are completely black. Although it is small in appearance, it exudes an extremely terrifying power that no strong person can ignore. Although they were surrounded by creatures of sub-level and above, when they saw this tiny black-haired Bella tribe, not a single one of them could offer any resistance. Master? You actually dare to kill our master, who are you? The tiny creature that suddenly appeared blasted the Red Pavilion master to death with his brainwave power. Although everyone knew that he was extremely powerful, there was still a sub-level being who roared out words with a fierce voice. The creature with black hair and black eyes, step by step, flew through the void to the opposite body, like a chair in a red hall in a building. Then he sat down in the middle of the chair and looked at the dozens of sub-level experts below. Oh, is it the Red Hall? He made a magnetic voice full of knowledge, similar to that of a young man. A force that doesn't have a half-star powerhouse actually dares to offend the Taia kingdom, which has my protection. Do you know how to write the word death? You are the one who wants to die. Just as he was speaking, a sub-level creature that was already extremely close suddenly exploded and attacked the tiny creature on the seat with all its strength. It's Elder Qi Yang. His strength is almost at the same level as the museum leader, and he's almost able to hit the semi-star level. Maybe there's a chance. The powerful person below looked at this scene, his eyes burst out with joy, and there were even 2 people who, at this moment, also had their strength condensed but wanted to act according to the opportunity. But what they didn't expect was that the moment after the Elder Xiang exploded, the extremely small creature actually looked at the attacking Elder Xiang, and then stretched out the fingers, and the claws of Elder Xiang's attack were gently clicked together. This scene is like an ant stretching out its foot to touch the big foot of an elephant. No one with sense would think that the ant will win. But the result in front of him made the confident creatures around him change their expressions, and they almost couldn't believe their eyes. Bang! The Xiang elder who attacked the black-haired creature was like a piece of rag. Under the exchange of blows with the opponent, he was unable to resist at all. His claws exploded, turning into a ball of blood mist, and then exploded. The power spread to his body, and with a few loud bangs, his entire body instantly exploded into pieces of flesh. Elder Qi Yang. How is this possible? You, who are you? The eyes of the sub-level creatures of the Red Pavilion were almost bulging out at this moment. An incomparably small Bella clan was able to kill Elder Qi Yang, who was comparable to the owner of the Red Pavilion, with just one move. Kill them? No, this creature that suddenly appeared had killed its owner with one move before. What kind of power does such a being have? When the other party asked him his name again, the black-haired creature smiled on the chair. I have said that I once protected Taia Kingdom. If you can't even guess this, then you have no character to let me spare my life. Just wait for everyone to die. He said calmly. Think about it quickly, no, this gentleman is. The expression of a second-level creature changed drastically after hearing the other party's words. Even at this moment, no one dared to run away. He said that he was protecting the Pacific Kingdom. Over the years, there is only one strong man who has protected the Pacific Kingdom. Could it be, are you, Lord Jia Yan? Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 1228. On this day, a horrifying news spread throughout the Northern Star Territory. When novel www.lwxs520.com. That is the leader of the Earth fleet who once caused panic more than 10 years ago, and is also a strong man comparable to half a star, who has returned. His name is Jia Yan. Back then, he once caused the entire Northern Star Territory to suddenly change, and even the major forces in the center were faintly shaken. But this time, after more than 10 years, he actually returned again, and as soon as he appeared, he helped Taia Kingdom and instantly defeated the 32 coalition forces that bullied Taia Kingdom. Even later, the biological powerhouse named Jia Yan actually counterattacked. The first target was the Red Hall forces. As soon as he took action, he killed the Red Hall owner and another strong man who was comparable to the owner, and then the entire Red Hall. Under its incomparable threat, the embassy forces had no choice but to sign a compensation clause that was both humiliating and extremely costly. After that, Jia Yan continued to fly forward. Anyway, the 32 forces were not far from Taia Kingdom. They passed one by one. It only took Jia Yan less than a whole day, and 5 of them were forced to sign. The agreement was reached, and after hearing the news, more than 20 forces quickly publicly stated that they would pay compensation so that they would no longer have to work for this terrifying strong man. You must know that every time Jia Yan appears in a place, he must kill several strong men. Those are sub-level creatures. The death of any one of them is unbearable pain for these 32 forces. Of course, the price of compensation is almost unbearable, but do they dare not to compensate? The 32 alliances completely surrendered. You must know that these are the 32 forces in the central area of the Northern Star Territory. Except for a few super-large forces in the center, their status in the Northern Star Territory is almost the same. Wait a minute. But he was still defeated by Taia Kingdom. He also signed a humiliating defeat treaty. No, it should be said that they were defeated by just one person. That person's name is Jia Yan. For a time, Jia Yan's name spread wildly throughout the Northern Star Territory, and his previous actions spread almost immediately. What? When Jia Yan first arrived in the barren galaxy near our Northern Star field, his strength was not even close to the stars. Oh my God! When he was at the venerable level, he was already able to cross the level and fight with a semi-star level expert, and he actually narrowly won. But it's very strange. The rumored Jia Yan is a flying creature. Although he is not big, he doesn't look like the tiny Bella clan he is now. Regarding Jia Yan, the news spread almost immediately throughout the Star Territory. After Jia Yan accomplished all this, he also knew that his name would spread quickly, but he didn't care. In the past, he was afraid that if his reputation spread, he would attract powerful enemies, but now in this Northern Star region, at least for the time being, it is impossible for any strong person to be able to resist him. Under this situation, he is still afraid that his reputation is too great. What's more, what he wants to do in the future will require stability around the Pacific Kingdom, otherwise he won't dare to start that matter. After settling the last force and knowing that the remaining dozens of forces took the initiative to issue a statement, he returned with satisfaction. I have a lot of things to do myself. I don't have much time to worry about the compensation from these forces. I'll leave it to the professional diplomats of Pacific Asia. Jia Yan stepped into the subspace, and behind him, there was a family that resisted stubbornly, but after being attacked by Jia Yan several times, the sub-level strongmen were killed and injured by a certain force. This is also the reason why other forces quickly issued statements of unconditional surrender. Not long after, Jia Yan, who had just completed the defeat of 32 coalition forces, a feat that ordinary people could not imagine, returned to the palace of Taia Kingdom. Jia Yan didn't alert anyone. He entered the palace hall and saw a beautiful woman with a dignified face sitting so quietly in the hall, as if waiting for something. Karma. Jia Yan stepped out of the subspace in one step, then looked up at the main hall with a smile. I was in a hurry before and didn't say hello to Karma properly, but now I have time. Lord Jia Yan. Karma's eyes lit up, and he quickly stood up. She still looks like she did more than 10 years ago. After all, more than 10 years is not a long time for creatures in the universe. Moreover, she is still a powerful person at the venerable level. Her lifespan is at least several times longer than before, and her appearance is more than 10 times longer than before. It is natural that things remain unchanged year after year. However, because she has been an empress for a long time, her temperament is completely different. She looks like she has transformed from a little girl next door to a noble lady with excellent temperament. After the matter is done, you can announce it later. Those dozens of forces have been defeated by me. Your diplomatic envoys from the Pacific Kingdom can go out to receive their compensation. Remember to tell them that they don't have to be afraid. I am here. Behind them. Jia Yan smiled friendly. Well, I understand. Sir, this body of yours is. Karma looked at Jia Yan's body and could vaguely tell that it was just a clone of Jia Yan, but the previous battle made her unable to believe this judgment. Because if just one clone can defeat dozens of Central Star forces, then how strong must Jia Yan's real body be? You're right, this is just a clone of me. Jia Yan confirmed her suspicion with a smile. You are actually a clone, so where is your real body now and what is your strength? When he heard that the person in front of him was really a clone, Karma's breath froze, and then he asked two questions in disbelief. She was thinking that Jia Yan's true body might have the strength of a mid to high level half-star level. In this case, he might be able to rank among the top 3 in the Northern Star Territory, because the powerful people in the Northern Star Territory half-star level, only mid to high level, not even the so-called genius strength in other star regions. That's right, there are no geniuses in the Northern Star Territory at all. Karma's breathing hitched. Because she was thinking that if Jia Yan's strength reaches the top 3 in the Northern Star region, then Taia Kingdom will have too much room for maneuver. Maybe the entire Pacific Kingdom can join the ranks of the top 10 powerful forces in an instant. However, Jia Yan did not give her a clear answer. My true body has now arrived in the Northern Star Territory, but I can't tell you where it is. As for my strength, Jia Yan organized some speeches. He felt that it was too arrogant to directly say that he had reached the stellar level. In fact, he could only be regarded as a quasi-stellar level now. At least he would not be considered a star until his real body passed the 1-year mark. Truly stellar. So he gave it a try again. As for the strength of my real body, you just need to believe that I can protect Taia country. In short, I won't let you down. Seeing Kama's disappointed expression, Jia Yan sighed helplessly. To be honest, now that the two of them have met, there is already an extra layer of estrangement. In more than 10 years, Jia Yan has experienced too much, and Kama has been the empress for too long. Their temperaments and experiences are different. If they want to meet again, it is completely impossible to be as carefree as we were more than 10 years ago. Even if you want to find that way of getting along, it is difficult. Shaking his head, Jia Yan saw that Kama had nothing to say for the time being, so he directly revealed his true purpose of coming to Taia Kingdom. Kama, actually I came here this time because I have something else I want to tell you. As for whether I agree or not, it depends on your decision. Sir, please speak. Kama's expression was startled when he heard Jia Yan's serious words, and then also became serious. Something that even a strong man like Jia Yan had to take seriously was definitely not a simple matter, so she had to cheer up and listen. That's it? I want to build a starry sky gate in your country of Taya. I call it the Stargate Project. Jia Yan said. Gate to the starry sky? What is this? Karma was startled. No matter how much he searched in his memory, he still had no idea what the gate to the starry sky was. Haha, you don't know that this thing is normal, because it was made by a technological genius I met in Genius Battlefield. Of course, only part of it is completed now, and the remaining part needs the help of your Taya kingdom. Could the genius of Genius Battlefield be the one who exchanged technology with us before? We admire her technological ability very much. It turned out to be her invention. The two discussed it, and although they did not regain their previous relationship, they soon became harmonious again. After all, the two sides have similar temperaments. After chatting now, they feel familiar again, and of course they will be able to get along again soon. So this is the Stargate Project. It's amazing. Sir, you actually think so? And is the place you mentioned actually your hometown? You mean, our Bella clan, the Kudatan clan, and even the Bile clan, our ancestors probably came from there. That night, the entire Taya palace was brightly lit, and Jia Yan and Kama chatted all night long. At sunrise the next day, an order to summon all the ministers was suddenly issued in the Taya palace, saying that something very important was to be announced. Immediately afterwards, the ministers who were still immersed in the news of yesterday's victory heard Empress Kama announcing the start of the Stargate project immediately. The entire Pacific Asia country's top management was shocked. Let's not mention it. Only talks about Jia Yan at this time. He has returned to his superfast ship in subspace. In this huge ship, a small clone moved with ease and joy. The fluctuations in the real body's strength seem to have begun to stabilize. After all, more than a month has passed since I was promoted, and I can feel that the real body's body has begun to condense. I don't know what I will do this time. How big it got. Jia Yan looked at the space of the ship. The huge cocoon almost occupied the entire interior of the superfast ship. The size of the real body inside might surprise Jia Yan. But this is normal. You must know that when the real body appears, he will be a real star-level powerhouse. If he doesn't even have this figure, it will not be like a star-level person. Okay, the real body has stabilized and there is no need for more control. Moreover, Taya country has also started the Stargate project. Next, I will start contacts on the Earth side. Jia Yan was silent, and then the clone closed its eyes. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 1229. Just as Jia Yan closed his eyes. On a planet thousands of light years away. In the deepest part of the planet, a creature that was almost exactly the same as its clone slowly opened its eyes. I haven't been back for a while, but I won't stay too long this time. Jia Yan looked at the magma scene around him, then shook his body, pushed away the extremely pressured magma, and drilled toward the ground. In fact, the deeper each planet goes, the more dangerous it is, and the pressure is almost unimaginable. Even if it is Jia Yan now, it is very difficult to get into the center of a planet. Even if the powerful creatures in the universe are powerful, they are still insignificant when facing nature. On the Earth, a huge city is blooming with its own civilization. This is the City of Return, a city whose name was defined by the return of the giant mosquito. Although it is only a city that has developed for only a few decades, it already has the scene of a huge city, full of feasting and entertainment, and extremely prosperous. Yes, this is Earth. Jia Yan flew up over the city, then looked around and came to the place where Jia's family was. At this time, the Jia family has completely changed from before. It's not that the terrain or buildings have changed, but that everyone in the Jia family, especially the younger generation, has changed. When Jia Qi grew up, she was in the fleet all day long and became a very famous little captain in the Jia family. She rarely came home anymore. And her sister Jia Ruo has become a 10-year-old girl. Like Jia Qi back then, she has become a genius with brainwave power and practices under famous teachers every day. As for Jia Yan's nominal son Jia Rong, he seems to be more harmonious with his classmates and friends. In Jia Yan's view, his strength has reached the peak of the early starry sky, and can almost reach the midterm starry sky level. Jia Yan thought for a while and did not disturb his family at this time. Instead, fly towards Shanghai, the headquarters of the Earth Alliance. The scenery along the way made Jia Yan see the rise of a new interstellar force. The feeling of prosperity is not something that can appear in an old civilization that has stabilized or in decline. This is where Earth civilization has the greatest potential. In particular, Jia Yan helped lay an extremely solid foundation for Earth civilization. Whether the surrounding civilizations are more developed or less developed than Earth's, they all yearn for this civilization. As for the Great Empire, it seems that after the war, it began to snipe at Earth civilization in all aspects. However, because it did not use force, this attack did not have much effect. Of course, the gap with the Great Empire cannot be evened out in a short time. In all aspects involved, it can hardly be caught up in dozens or even hundreds of years. Oh, things have changed and people have changed. Is this what I'm talking about right now? The more Jia Yan looks at the Earth today, there are so many advanced technologies and there are many aliens walking on the streets, it becomes less and less like the hometown in his memory. For Jia Yan, this is a kind of sadness. However, this is lucky for most people on Earth. The development of science and technology and medicine have brought the average age of people on Earth to more than 200 years old, and may even exceed the 300 mark in the future. The increase in lifespan has contributed to the accumulation and explosion of knowledge. After all, those who live longer will be able to accumulate more knowledge and scientific research results, and then pass them on to their descendants. The accumulation of such generations can almost make the Earth move faster towards advanced civilization in a geometric manner. Jia Yan looked at Shanghai City, the military and political center of the Earth civilization, which was already the capital of mankind. It looked completely different from the dilapidated city that he had remembered after experiencing the metal monster storm. Perhaps few people today will remember the battles and deaths of the heroes back then, right? Jia Yan smiled bitterly. The more advanced the Shanghai Stock Exchange became, the more unreal it felt to him. Okay, don't think so much. What I can do is speed up the progress of Earth civilization. Even if I don't like to see it very much. Jia Yan shook his head, and then his human-like body headed towards the ground. For him, even if the current Earth has improved, it is still far from the real civilization he has seen. As long as he uses some small tricks, he can easily make all Earth detection and early warning instruments ineffective. Jia Yan moved forward and then came to the current alliance headquarters on Earth. Here is the meeting place for the various countries of the Earth Alliance, or the supreme leaders. Today's Earth has almost no concept of a country. A series of crises and wars have brought people on Earth together like never before. Although countries still have the position of head of state, it has been reduced to a nominal position. I'm Jia Yan. Come over to the Civilization Affairs office. I have something to discuss with you. Suddenly, Jia Yan's voice appeared in the ears of all Earth Alliance executives. Master Jia Yan. Quick, Lord Jia Yan is calling. A group of senior officials were first surprised when they suddenly heard Jia Yan's voice, and then rushed directly to the Civilization Affairs Institute without any hesitation. When they arrived at the office, they saw a man who had been waiting at the very front of the office for some time. "I've met Lord Jiayan. I haven't seen you for a long time, sir." "I have met you, sir." A group of senior executives quickly saluted Jiayan respectfully. Jiayan nodded calmly. He saw that almost 200 to 300 people had arrived, and then he talked about his Stargate project to this group of people who were actually the controllers of the Earth civilization. Not long after, the meeting ended. But until Jiayan left, this group of hundreds of senior Earthlings were still in shock. Not only was he shocked by Jiayan's plan, but he was also shocked by the truths that Jiayan told. It turns out, we humans on Earth still have some close blood relatives in a faraway alien place. They have been in the outer star field for hundreds of thousands of years. Now you actually want us to connect with them again, and use the resources and strength of both parties to create a new level of civilization. Groups of high-level Earthlings were almost sleepwalking. Every time Jiayan comes back, he does something amazing, and this time it is indeed the case. In the sky above the Shanghai Stock Exchange, a figure slowly flew up. Jiayan looked relaxed. He knew that no matter how the higher UPS below decided, as long as he said it, the plan would be implemented. Of course, he couldn't think of any reason why the Earth's higher UPS refused. With him here, the Earth does not have to worry about being invaded by the three major relatives of the Northern Star Territory. The technology and the level of civilization in the Northern Star Territory are not comparable to those on the Earth. This matter will have a great impact on the Earth. It's definitely a huge benefit. To put it more broadly, the current situation of the Orion Arm is like a closed outer world with no communication with the outside world. Even if they want to go out, they are surrounded by stars that are stronger than them, and most of them are even hostile to the Orion Arm. In this case, establishing a longer distance transaction and communication channel is a very wise choice. Of course, there are many benefits to the Earth, especially the Beira clan, the Kudatan clan, and the Bile clan. They are almost all under the control of Jiayan, and the Earth does not have to worry about being swallowed up by the other party. The most important thing is that the Bela and other tribes have almost the same blood as the people on Earth, and almost all the achievements of their civilization can be used directly. Of course, the Bela tribe also has great benefits. They are almost surrounded by enemies in the Northern Star Territory. The Orion Arm is a vast star territory, much larger than the entire Northern Star Territory. The business opportunities there are unlimited, and the Orion Arm has unlimited business opportunities. Not everything on the Arm side is lagging behind. Just like the gravitational wave system, the Northern Star region is no better than this side. In the case of the transaction, the Bela clan will definitely be able to get huge benefits. In such a win-win situation, Jiayan was almost on Kama's side and got her consent without any effort. After all, it clearly explained the conditions and resource capabilities of the Earth civilization. Even the Bela clan was definitely very excited. I believe that the Earth side will also agree quickly. And Jiayan is like the ultimate force guard balancing the two sides. Under his supervision, neither side will accidentally misfire. Jiayan flew all the way and returned to the place where the Geo family was. The Geo family, who had received news of his return, were already waiting outside the Geo family lawn. "Xiaoyan, you must be exhausted. Come on, we haven't seen you for a while. Mom made your favorite dish today. Eat it before you get busy." Jia's mother watched Jiayan fall from the sky, and came forward to help him brush off some of the dust on his shoulders. Jia's father remained silent, but it could be seen from his smiling expression that he was still very happy that his son could go home. Of course, over the past few decades, the descendants of the Geo family, as if they had no blood relationship with them, have continued to explode with strength and talent beyond ordinary people, and they have become super strong and powerful. It belongs to the commander of the battleship. To them, it is almost like seeing a book from heaven. but no matter what, these children are their descendants. As parents and grandparents, they still cherish these extraordinary descendants very much. Haha, then I'm just in time. Come on, I really want to try to see if mom's cooking has improved over the years. Jia Yan smiled, then looked at his sister and brother-in-law on one side and nodded. Little Ruruo is beautiful again. She looks just like her sister. Jia Yan touched Jiaruo's little head. I don't look like my sister. Xiaoruruo angrily yelled at Jia Yan. Brother, don't say she looks like Kikai. These two little guys will either fight or quarrel when they meet. They can get into trouble even if they are so different in age. You will definitely not be happy if you say she looks like my sister. Jia Yan shook his head. Then he turned and looked at Jiarong further away. It seemed that something happened at the Satsuma niche and did not appear. Jia Yan faced the child at this time and didn't know what to say. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 1230. Jiarong's body does not seem to be able to grow in the same way as ordinary people on Earth. It grows slightly slowly, so he still looks 1.23 meters tall at this time, like a 18-year-old boy. MLWXS Luan Mobile Network. Jiarong, go eat. Jia Yan smiled at him. Jiarong looked at him, then snorted coldly, followed a group of people into Jia's parents' house without saying anything. This meal is the happiest thing for Jia Yan recently besides his promotion. He cares about his family very much, and now even if he can't be with them every day, he can always see them. This is a better scene for him. The next day, Jia Yan received answers from senior executives in Shanghai. The answer is naturally through Jia Yan's plan. Very good, then the buildings on this side of the Earth should also be included in the construction agenda. The Stargate project has officially begun. Jia Yan was still satisfied with the speed of the Earth Alliance's reply, and then he switched his mind again and returned to the clone in the Northern Star Territory. Master Jia Yan, we can build the kind of building you mentioned in a few days, but we don't know what the Stargate technology you mentioned is about yet. Seeing Jia Yan's clone, Kama came forward to greet him. Jia Yan's clone at this time was not very big, which seemed a bit unaccustomed to Kama, especially when she saw Jia Yan's clone, which was different from the big mosquito she remembered before, and instead resembled her race. She is getting weirder and weirder. In fact, Kama always had some doubts in her mind, especially when Jia Yan revealed that his hometown, the Earth, and that the main race on it was actually a race related to their Bella clan. She felt even more weird. Jia Yan must have discovered a long time ago that the Bella tribe is similar to the people on Earth, but he did not say it before, and Kama has always felt that Jia Yan is very good to the Bella tribe and the Kudatan tribe. Could it be said that Jia Yan is there any special relationship between Yan and the people on Earth, so Iwu and Wuxia came to help the Bella tribe who were in crisis before? So what is his relationship with the Earthlings? Even the clones are said to look like Earthlings. Karma thought about many possibilities, but never thought that Jia Yan's true identity was that he was an Earthling before. In short, if she has real contact with the people on Earth, she may find more doubts. Now, Jia Yan will not explain all this to her, and she can only guess in her heart. After hearing the question about Stargate technology, Jia Yan had nothing to hide. He entered the subspace, and from the superfast ship, a technological item obtained from Zbala came out. This is the Stargate, but it's just a semi-finished product. I would have forgotten if you didn't tell me, Karma. This Stargate was made by my friend Ingenious Battlefield, but it lacks some technical support. She said that according to your technological level, you can make that Stargate. I will make up for it. I have put all the information and items here. I hope you can analyze it carefully and then improve it. The Stargate that Jia Yan took out was a huge metal platform covering an area of more than 100 square meters, but it had a slot design on it, and there was nothing in the slot at this time. Karma took the information and read it for a while, and was amazed. It's amazing. Your friend must be an extremely powerful scientist. She actually used the space system and the gravitational wave system. Some of them are even in scientific fields that our country of Tadia is not involved in now. I heard you say that she is just it's a small team. I didn't expect such geniuses to exist in the universe. Jia Yan just smiled at Kama's remarks. In fact, Zbala borrowed part of the Orion arm gravitational wave system to create the Stargate system in front of him, otherwise it wouldn't be so magical. Of course, her ability to produce this item was beyond Jia Yan's imagination. Sir, this scientist's request to us is reasonable. We can complete the next things. Please don't worry. We can complete the remaining parts in a month at most, and then we can also make the auxiliary door. Kama's affirmative remarks made Jia Yan relieved. He was afraid that he had arranged everything, but it would be funny if Tadia Kingdom could not cooperate with Zbala's original product to build the Stargate. Master Jia Yan, this Stargate is so powerful. It can actually shorten the interstellar voyage time by so much. Although it is troublesome to build a Stargate. But 10,000 light-years can be compressed to 2 months at the minimum, and even the energy consumed, relatively speaking, it is insignificant. The emergence of this kind of Stargate can almost achieve professional navigation methods in large star fields. As the Empress of Tadia Kingdom, Kama still has a certain vision for science and technology. At this time, she kept looking at the science and technology data of Stargate and kept praising it. In the Kingdom of Tadia, Zbala became extremely excited about the Stargate technology. Many scientists were divided into several groups, and they continued to understand and analyze her Stargate drawings day and night. Of course, this is because they don't know about the existence of superfast ships and several other technological items. If they knew about it, they would definitely admire Zbala even more. However, Jia Yan has no intention of directly taking out all his trump cards. Anyway, if they are taken out, they cannot be studied by the scientists of Tadia Kingdom. It is better to keep them secret to save trouble. And just as the Tadia Kingdom began to boil over due to the arrival of Jia Yan, the whole country began to boil, and then entered a period of great national development. Among the countless compensation teams, some forces are still extremely unwilling to surrender to Tadia Kingdom. This Tadia Kingdom is too arrogant. It thinks that with the support of Jia Yan, it can control our Northern Star territory. Has Jia Yan forgotten how he was driven out of the Northern Star territory back then? That's right, there were star-level powerhouses in the Northern Star region back then. Although there are no star-level powerhouses now, Jia Yan must not be able to fight against those forces in the central area of our Northern Star region. Just wait, my force has already sent the request for help information to the major forces that support my force. Don't look at Tadia country's arrogance now, it will be truly destroyed in a while. When the time comes, I will completely slaughter the Tadia Kingdom from top to bottom, and I will also pull out Jia Yan's tendons and skin, and torture him to death. The heads of several major forces gathered together with great resentment at one point, and their resentment towards the Tadia Kingdom and Jia Yan almost reached its peak. You must know that the compensation they paid to Tadia country has almost reached a point that the entire force or country cannot bear. No matter how Tadia Kingdom defeated them, and how Jia Yan was unable to fight against them, they still hate Tadia Kingdom and Jia Yan because of this, and they wish they could directly bring down Tadia Kingdom. Together with Jia Yan, they were completely destroyed. Of course, they never thought about how they dealt with Tadia Kingdom in the past. And just when this group of leaders were gnashing their teeth with hatred for Tadia Kingdom and Jia Yan, their news was passed through layers of relays and reached several top forces in the center of the Northern Star territory. Among Jia Yan, is he the guy who caused a bloody storm in our Northern Star region more than 10 years ago? It's interesting. Others may not know it, but several of our top forces know that the two stellar powerhouses back then had done something to him. At this time, this guy didn't absorb the lessons of that year and dared to do it again. Come to our northern star territory. This guy is totally looking for death. Several top forces were not optimistic about Jia Yan's appearance, but after all, they had nothing to do with Jia Yan, so they did not react much at this time. As for Jia Yan's annexation of the assets of their subordinate forces, of course someone will handle it, but it won't be too drastic. But among these forces, there is one force whose attitude is not so calm at all. That is among the top forces, it can be regarded as an extremely radical force. Its name is Shiratori Battle Hall. That's right, this is the same force that Jia Yan once took away the reverse blood and that strange tree-rooted star-level powerhouse. What? Jia Yan actually appeared again. Asshole, this Jia Yan didn't know why at the beginning, which made Lord Kongping who came here last time extremely angry, and almost ordered to destroy the Bella clan, but just because she said that she would keep the Bella clan as bait, that's why we kept the Bella clan, but I didn't expect that Jia Yan would be so bold and dare to come back. Let's do it. Capturing Jia Yan directly back to our own force can also be regarded as an explanation to Master Kongping. Maybe Master will see our loyalty at the War Hall headquarters and be happy to transfer us back to the headquarters to serve, no matter how low level it is. It's better to have a position than to be in this remote and deadly countryside. At this moment in the Whitebird War Hall, the entire force was extremely furious. That was the way it was. A creature that had offended a powerful star among their forces was lucky to escape. It dared to come back in more than 10 years. This simply made them think that Jia Yan was looking down on him. The stellar powerhouse of their forces. Suddenly, war preparations begin. As a branch of a top force, the Whitebird War Hall has dozens of semi-stars, and it even has the ability to contact the headquarters for help. However, this time the Whitebird War Hall did not directly ask for help. After all, in their view, even if Jia Yan was powerful, he was still a being who fought to a draw with a half-star strong man more than 10 years ago. In more than 10 years, even if there is some growth, are they still unable to deal with dozens of half-star level experts? Maybe I would catch it here and hand it over to His Highness Kongping. When she is happy, she will just reward him with something, and the entire branch will benefit. To be honest, the reaction from Bania Zantang was not beyond Jia Yan's expectations. While the Whitebird Battle Hall was moving up and down, Jia Yan, who was in Tadia Kingdom, faced another problem. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 1231. It turns out that not far from Tadia Kingdom, a terrifying gamma ray that could endanger Tadia Kingdom suddenly came. There are a lot of gamma rays, electromagnetic waves, and various types of radiation in the universe, among which gamma rays are the most terrifying. Many gamma rays are released by large celestial bodies or caused by self-explosion. The power of a single sweep of powerful gamma rays is equivalent to the total amount of sunlight energy released by the sun in its lifetime. Powerful gamma rays can be found everywhere in the universe. Even if a strong person encounters them, they must be spared, otherwise they will be exterminated. Of course, gamma rays will not stay in a certain galaxy forever, that is, they will sweep across it in an instant. This time, the country of Tadia encountered a gamma ray power that was hundreds of thousands of times as hot as a real star. Master Jia Yan, although the gamma rays this time are not strong, our country needs to be well prepared. The previous fortifications will definitely not be able to continue. Even in this disaster, we will have to abandon many of the country's buildings and space fortifications. Kama found Jia Yan and wanted his forgiveness. There is no way. If you encounter gamma rays, you are lucky to be able to move without emergency. However, this gamma ray, which is not very powerful, will definitely cause extremely terrible economic and property losses to Tadia. There is no way around it. Since there is no way to avoid it, let's wait until he passes. Jia Yan was helpless. He had no way to deal with the gamma rays. Not to mention that he was just a clone now. Even if the real body became a star and came out, there was not much he could do to change the direction of the gamma rays. This scene made Jia Yan understand that the universe is still the universe. No matter how powerful the creatures are, they are still as small as bacteria in the dust in front of the vast and almost boundless universe. The entire Pacific Kingdom has entered into a comprehensive police intervention. Not long after, the gamma rays came in full force. In fact, gamma rays are rays, rather than terrifying energy. Try to think about it. It is like a cannon that is big enough to cover the Earth. The heat energy and radiation in the center are amazing and can reach terrifying levels. Thousands or even tens of thousands of temperatures. If it were swept by it, if it were an ordinary civilized planet, the creatures on it would definitely become extinct. In the distant sky, an astonishing force directly attacked Tadia star, the main star of Tadia Kingdom. Then the entire planet opened the most powerful defensive shield, and ripples continued to spread outside the defensive shield. This is the ability of a powerful technological civilization. Although they do not have strong resistance in the face of strong people, they can display extremely terrifying technological strength when facing similar astronomical disasters. And Jia Yan stood in the middle of Tadia star, looking at the gamma rays bombarding from the outside world. Although his current clone is not afraid of gamma rays, he has space talent, which is like a cheating ability, allowing him to hide in subspace before similar astronomical disasters arrive. Horrible. Seeing the gamma rays hitting the entire planet's defense shield, causing terrifying ripples, Jia Yan's heart beat wildly. Such a terrifying power, if absorbed by a strong person, may reach stellar level in an instant. And this gamma ray is only the weakest kind. The power of gamma rays caused by the explosion of large stars can almost reach directly destroy the Tadia star city. Facing that kind of terrifying power, perhaps a galaxy-level being would have no choice but to retreat. The power of gamma rays came and went quickly. In less than a second, it swept across the Tadia star and then disappeared far away. In less than a second, it almost caused great economic damage. There was even a lot of radiation left in the starry sky, so that the starry sky was filled with energy that could destroy biological tissues. Jia Yan shook his head and looked at the starry sky outside Tadia star. Sir, the loss this time is too great. I think future work will be stagnant for a while. Even some of our scientific research institutions in Pacific Asia need to be rebuilt. Kama smiled bitterly and came to Jia Yan's side. It's okay, just slow down, I'm not in a hurry, but this radiation. Jia Yan's clone looked into space with a hint of surprise in his eyes. Not long after, he boarded a small battleship from the Pacific Kingdom and arrived in space. In this sky and earth where radiation was almost bursting, Jia Yan could feel the temperature being very high. After all, the gamma rays had just passed not long ago. The battleship stayed in a certain space, then the hatch opened, and Jia Yan flew out of the isolation cabin. This warship has come to a place with strong radiation. After returning, it will definitely have to undergo strict radiation cleaning methods before it can be exposed to ordinary Tadian people. However, Jia Yan did not care about this problem. Instead, after flying into the universe, he suddenly felt physical discomfort. Even though this clone has brainwave power that has reached the level of a venerable, and its real combat power is higher than an ordinary half-star level, it still feels like its body is being rapidly destroyed by the high temperature power. If it is an ordinary biological constitution, not to mention high temperature, but also the radiation, it can cause their body's organic structure to become disordered, and then cause pathological changes. Jia Yan felt the changes around him, and his expression became even weirder. He held out his finger. Then, at the finger, a space seemed to condense. Under Jia Yan's control, the subspace actually mutated slightly. Jia Yan can know that this is the domain power that he can master after being promoted to a star. However, this power is still very weak now. It is already extremely amazing that Jia Yan can use it to condense the surrounding radiation power. Then Jia Yan felt a small energy substance condensed on his fingertips. There is a lot of radiant energy inside, as well as a trace of interstellar matter. It turns out that the energy of this radiation residue is so pure. Jia Yan's eyes lit up as he looked at the material in front of him. Next, in this starry sky full of radiation, various ships flying out of Taia's star to clean up were all extremely surprised to see the rumored extremely terrifying clone of Jia Yan in this starry sky. Actually like them, busy inside and outside the starry sky. Jia Yan's clone continuously collects the radiation energy that can be collected, and then uses his own space talent to wrap them and place them in the subspace. Although the loss was huge, for Jia Yan, this was a boring move. He just saw that the energy of the residue was very high and felt that it was of some use, so he collected them. With his help, Taia, which was already very efficient, eliminated the hidden dangers in the starry sky in just a few days. Being bombarded by cosmic energy is not a rare thing among major civilizations. There will always be one or two unlucky civilizations in the northern star region who are bombarded once or twice every few decades. So no one took it too seriously. This kind of energy is like a wandering assassin in the universe and cannot be guarded against. Taia soon recovered from the tension and production, and life continued even though the aftermath was far from complete. After all, for the entire country, no one wants to see this kind of situation. No matter how bad the working environment will be next, we can only bite the bullet. After all, life has to go on, right? While watching their recovery, Jia Yan observed the Empress. She continued to provide condolences in major disaster-stricken areas, especially in some of the hardest hit areas where defenses could not be activated and people could not evacuate. She showed cordial care. This is just like the Earth in the past. The leaders visited the hardest hit areas, and also personally went to places where there may be radiation risks to express condolences. She can be regarded as a very competent empress. Jia Yan admired Kama's actions. However, he quickly turned his attention to the Stargate project fortifications that would soon resume construction. After suffering such a blow, the entire Taia kingdom has almost become worse. Many domestic fortifications can never be opened again, and the external environment is not optimistic. After all, Jia Yan's deterrent power is only his own, and the Taia kingdom itself in the northern star territory, it is still relatively unpopular. Compensation is okay, but want a trade? There can be many reasons for rejection. The greatest hope of the Pacific Kingdom in dealing with this crisis is to start the construction of the Stargate with all its strength. Just like what Jia Yan said, if the Stargate is built, then there will be a new world on the other side that is much wider than the northern star territory. In this way, both resources and economy can be greatly improved. Stress relief. Jia Yan did not expect that an attack of gamma rays would make the kingdom of Taia take the Stargate project so seriously. But the accelerated progress would only make him happy. Okay, now I'm going to study and see what the use of that energy is. Or I can take it out and let the scientists in Taia country help me think about it, but they are so busy themselves, so it doesn't seem very good if I bother you again. I really miss the time when Edissa was around, but it's almost here. Edissa seems to be somewhere about 1,000 light years away, and she will reach Taiasia in a few months. Jia Yan shook his head helplessly and stepped into the subspace. Subspace, which is almost a desperate place for any living creature, is almost another safe harbor for Jia Yan to survive for a long time. As soon as he entered the subspace, he saw a huge super-fast ship docked in the subspace. In the space around a huge battleship, there are actually space balls similar to the size of a human palm. This is an object created by Jia Yan using his newly realized space power to control radiation into a space ball. Since they are powers, they must have ways to use them. Of course, I don't think they can swallow them. Although evolved beasts can eat almost any energy, I don't know what impact this extremely violent power will have on the body if swallowed. I no longer know. Jia Yan looked at the energy balls. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 1232. Gamma rays are extremely penetrating rays. Although what is in front of you is just a residue, it should not be underestimated. At novel. Of course, what hit Taya Kingdom before was just an extremely ordinary gamma ray surge, not even a gamma ray storm. If it were a storm, to be honest, Taya Kingdom would be completely destroyed. There are even more terrifying super gamma ray storms in the universe. The most terrifying super gamma ray storms observed by people on Earth are so powerful that the energy released in 1 minute exceeds the total energy released by the Milky Way in 2,000 years. How much power has there been in the entire Milky Way galaxy for 2,000 years, hundreds of billions of stars, and all kinds of dark matter? I'm afraid it's impossible to calculate, but a super gamma ray storm can match this terrifying power in 1 minute. You can see how scary gamma rays are. But the ones I have mastered are not that terrifying. They can even be regarded as scraps. Although I can feel that it has very pure energy, it is hard to say how to use it. Jia Yan observed the space balls in his hands, and even crushed one of them, allowing the condensed energy to fall onto his body. The penetrating power is indeed very strong, and can even affect the body cells of my clone. But that's it? Gamma rays can cause ionization deprivation, but as a strong person's cells are not that simple, I can feel the body instantly resists this deprivation. This is just Jia Yan's clone. If he were to change into his real body, there would be almost no possibility of him having any influence. I'll try other ways to use it. It would be a pity if I couldn't use this weird thing. Jia Yan also tried it, exploding the ball in normal space, but the power of the explosion was ordinary. It might be able to cause some damage to the sub-level, but it would frighten the opponent when facing the half-star level. Hardly any big impact. Not to mention the impact on stellar powerhouses. Jia Yan was unwilling to give in and tried many methods. Finally, when he extracted a trace of his true body and merged it with a space ball filled with gamma ray energy, the entire starry sky suddenly burst out with an extremely astonishing huge light. The terrifying penetrating power of gamma rays actually caused a chemical reaction with Jia Yan's real body liquid, and it exploded in an astonishing instant. Fortunately, before that, Jia Yan's clone hid hundreds of kilometers away. Sensing something was wrong, he also fled back to the subspace, and escaped for tens of thousands of kilometers. Only then did he look back after leaving the space with lingering fear. My dear, this power is too terrifying. Could it be? Jia Yan looked at the starry sky behind him, where the terrifying power of the explosion was still affecting it, causing the entire space to collapse for at least several hundred kilometers. He knew that the radiation energy in the space ball, even if it was extremely powerful, could not cause such terrifying power. He couldn't help but think of the real body condensation that he added. I see. Jia Yan was suddenly startled and understood the rationale. Because the energy in the space ball is a force with extremely terrifying penetrating power, and his true body has acquired a trace of antimatter properties after absorbing the root of the nameless tree. However, on weekdays, the antimatter power in his body has no trace of it. Hidden deep in the cells, it is even vaguely balanced with positive matter. Except for Jia Yan's initiative to detonate it, just like the last time he escaped from the hands of the living channel, he kept erupting with condensate and escaped his capture several times. Otherwise, it is almost impossible to activate the antimatter power in other ways. But even then, only a part of it can be aroused. Because the antimatter power in his body is hidden very deeply. But the energy in the small space ball has the extremely penetrating characteristics of gamma rays, which can even strip away molecules and ionize them, so that when they come into contact with antimatter electrons, of course it exploded completely. Haha, this is just the effect of one space ball. What if 2, 3, or even 100 were thrown out at once? Thinking of this, Jia Yan almost laughed out loud. He once again obtained a unique attack method, and this time, it seemed to be simpler, more direct, and terrifying than the previous black hole attack method. Well, when the Edissa returns, I can also ask it to help me create another black hole. Of course, it will be more powerful than the previous one. After it is created, it can be combined with my terrifying space ball bombing. I think there will be more what strong person can fight with me. Even if you are in the middle of the stellar level, you still have to be wary of me. Jia Yan was extremely excited. This was like the black hole tactic he had thought of before. If he couldn't defeat him, he would throw an artificial black hole out. But now, there is no need to throw it, just throw a space ball, of course the kind mixed with your own condensation or body tissue. Is the enemy fast? Don't be afraid, when the black hole sucks it in, even if the opponent can escape, it will definitely be affected, and then the space ball will explode. That feeling is so refreshing just thinking about it. Jia Yan even thought about it. The way to obtain this kind of space ball is through gamma ray flow. This kind of thing can't be said to be too much or too little in the universe. If you don't have it, you can always find it if you look for information. It is much easier to find than artificial black holes, which are difficult to make. It can completely become a consumable. Haha, it seems that after I entered the stellar level, the first plan to improve my strength has been figured out. Of course, this method is used to deal with opponents who are stronger than me. Under normal circumstances, I have become a stellar level. What kind of creature should we be afraid of? If you reach the half-star level, you don't even need a space ball. 100 and 200 of them can be killed with one slap. Jia Yan thought for a while, and then carefully put away those space balls. Now that he thought of how to use them, he would not let them stay in space, but would take them into the superfast ship. Of course, his body occupies a huge space in the superfast ship, and if he accidentally collides with the cell material of his body and a certain space ball, that was really sour. Jia Yan couldn't imagine the situation, so he was extremely careful with the space ball that he put away, and even hid it in a hatch away from the main body. This time's gamma ray wave was an extremely painful natural disaster for Taya Kingdom, but for Jia Yan, it was a blessing that he became stronger. Of course, he wouldn't say anything, he just cooperated with Karma to gather people's hearts, and even attended a certain people's comfort event with her when he was bored. His appearance naturally caused countless shocks and surprises, and even the public sentiment at that time rose instantly. However, Jia Yan only participated in that one time, and then Taya Kingdom slowly removed the hidden dangers and gradually restored its original national conditions. During this period of time, all the forces around Taya Kingdom were making some subtle moves. However, seeing that Taya Kingdom quickly recovered its decline, especially after seeing that Jia Yan did not abandon Taya Kingdom, the little movements stopped again. Of course, Jia Yan and Kama had been paying attention to the movements around them, and they were slightly relieved when they saw that none of the forces moved. Taya Kingdom has already experienced natural disasters, but it cannot withstand another war. However, just when Jia Yan and Kama were secretly relieved, a piece of information seemed to be a wake-up call, surprising both of them. Shiratori Battle Hall, send troops to our country of Taya and declare war. Karma's red lips were slightly opened, and he could hardly believe the information he saw. Not only that, the Whitebird War Hall has also declared war on the Kudetans and the Bile tribe. I don't know why they are interested in the Kudetans. Are they going to be hunted down by the entire Northern Star territory? You must know that they are a wandering people. The minister who delivered the information smiled bitterly and shook his head at Kama. Alas, it seems that this time, Lord Jiayan has brought enemies again. We are getting closer to him, and forces that didn't even look at us in the past have come to deal with us. I don't know whether I should be happy or sad. Kama sighed with a wry smile. Then, without much thought, she passed the information to Jiayan's communicator. Not long after, Jiayan, who was far away in the starry sky, received this communication information. Shiratori Battle Hall? It turns out it's them. After Jiayan was startled, he no longer felt much fear, but instead felt a sense of hatred. The stellar powerhouse of the Whitebird Battle Hall back then, that is, Kongping, almost killed me. I said I would avenge this revenge, but I didn't expect that I didn't go to look for them, and they actually came to my door. It's okay if you come, it saves me having to leave, and it also saves me having to make excuses. Whitebird Battle Hall. I wonder if you will invite Kongping over this time. No, if I show a strength of more than half a star level, maybe those who come over will not. It is already a star level. If there are 2 or more star levels in the future, it will be difficult for me to deal with it with my current strength. According to the intelligence obtained last time in the Northern Star Territory, although the Whitebird War Hall has star levels, there are not many, only 3. If there are 3, solve the first one first, and then the next 2, there will be a big problem. There is room for change. If we don't wait for a while, then the real strength will improve. As long as the opponent does not have an intermediate star level, 1 versus 2 should not be a problem. After Jiayan thought deeply, the corners of his mouth slightly curved. After the strength has been upgraded to the constant breath level, the behemoth that originally seemed almost impossible to deal with has now become less scary. If it is at least 3 star levels, Jiayan is not afraid, and even, there is a trace of fighting spirit. Boiling. Of course, all this requires skill, and even from this battle with Shiratori War Hall, deception, no, tactical deception will begin. Pass on my order. We will not declare war first, but send a friendly message to them to make the outside world think that we are giving in. We will discuss it later based on the other party's reaction. Jiayan sent back the order. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 1233. Then the message of peace talks and restraint came from Tadia Kingdom. Humph, this must be natural. Do they still dare to be stubborn in the face of our Whitebird War Hall? Especially that Jiayan. He was not very good before. He defeated 32 forces by himself. He is very powerful. He has no temper at all when he sees us. In the Shiratori Battle Hall's front army, the reactions of senior officials and ordinary soldiers to Tadia Kingdom seem to be part of their own calculations. After all, they are the Whitebird War Hall, one of the dominant forces in the Northern Star Territory, and they have a star class behind them. They even summoned a star class to come to the Northern Star Territory more than 10 years ago. With such terrifying strength, who dares to confront them head-on? The so-called strong man Jiayan of Tadia Kingdom. Haha, in front of them, he is just a slightly larger ant. Reply to the Tadia Kingdom. Either hand over Jiayan or destroy the country directly. The top brass of the Whitebird Battle Hall sent out a faint message, and this message simply caused an earthquake to occur around the already unstable Northern Star Territory. They knew that Bai Niao Zhantang seemed to have a feud with the former Jiayan, but they did not expect that the feud would reach this point. It seems that Shiratori Sentu will never give up. Oh, it seems that Kongping really had a grudge against me back then, but it's not wrong. She naturally cares about those 2 treasures very much. She may even think that I have them in my hands now, and she heard the news about me. Will definitely come. Jiayan thought a lot through the other party's attitude, especially Kongping, the stellar powerhouse of the Whitebird Battle Hall, who must still hold a grudge against him, and even wanted to kill him to take back the treasure. Although the attitude of the Whitebird Warhol is firm, the process of spitting at each other still takes time. And just like this, when the Whitebird Warhol army came outside the Taiya kingdom and called each other between the two sides, the Taiya kingdom showed with an attitude of admitting his mistake. After grinding for a while, another half-month passed. Unknowingly, Jia Yan came from the Genius Battle territory to the Northern Star territory. Including the time spent on the journey, another 2 full months had passed. All he needs is time. Although it is roughly said that the transition period for novice stars is 1 year, in fact, the time to start is much earlier. At least Jia Yan's evolved beast body is now almost able to break out of the cocoon. Even if he has not reached the full stellar level by then, his level crossing combat ability will still be about the same. And just after half a month of confrontation. Asshole, the Taiya kingdom actually said lightly that we need to discuss the matter of arresting Jia Yan. It seems that they are just entertaining us. Oh, Taiya kingdom has withstood a gamma ray attack before. It seems that they are stalling for time to repair the defense facilities. But it doesn't matter, let them repair it. When the repair is completed, we will attack in one go. At that time, the entire everyone in the Star territory will know the difference in strength between ordinary forces and our top forces. Of course, the Whitebird Battle Hall is confident. After all, ordinary forces, even if they are from the Central District, rarely have half-star level experts in their forces, while powerful forces like the Whitebird Force will have half a star. The stellar level is stationed permanently. This is the difference in strength. The existence of the strong, at least in the Northern Star territory, cannot be smoothed out by technology and numbers. But this time, they guessed completely wrong. Taiya Kingdom is indeed repairing its defenses, but they also know that the defenses are not of much use, let alone things that have been repaired in a hurry. What Taiya Kingdom is repairing is more than half of the Stargate project buildings that were previously destroyed by gamma rays. Lord Jia Yan, it's almost time. The first communication quantum is about to be transmitted. Just when Shiratori Battle Hall was about to take action, good news came from here. Hearing Kama's communication voice, Jia Yan, who was still at the border of the Pacific Kingdom, was defending the Whitebird War Hall. His eyes lit up, and then he drove the superfast ship and quickly returned to the main star of the Pacific Kingdom. The first quantum communication is a quantum communication link based on the quantum entanglement of your avatar. And using your body as the basic point, our scientists can communicate with more quanta around the Earth. As long as we are lucky enough, if the energy is enough, we can directly build the Stargate on the Earth side. After listening to Kama's explanation, Jia Yan was stunned. Zbala said that Stargates need to be erected on both sides. I originally wanted you to copy another Stargate, and then I would send it to the Earth in my avatar. How can you actually use quantum technology to build a Stargate out of thin air? No, this is not building a Stargate out of thin air, but using your avatar's quantum communication channel. Don't forget, your avatar was made by our country of Taiya, right? The quantum records are still with us, and quantum communication method has always been the main direction of our Pacific Asia country, so it is normal that your friend does not understand us. Kama was extremely proud to explain Taiya Kingdom's plan to Jia Yan. Jia Yan, who was almost novice in science, was stunned for a while. In short, he knew that by using the technology of the Pacific Kingdom, he could shorten the time of sending another Stargate to the Earth. This helped Jia Yan a lot. In fact, Taiya State has spent a lot of effort to achieve this. Not only did it mobilize most of the country's scientific researchers to calculate and design day and night, it also used the country's most powerful computers on it. And after spending so much effort, they actually have selfish motives. That is that the current situation is too tense. Taiya Kingdom has become a lost place. If Jia Yan's clone leaves and the real body is unable to take action, even if the crisis of Whitebird Battle Hall is overcome, Then what happens after Jia Yan's clone leaves? So it is better to build the Stargate directly in the fastest way, or even use China Unicom energy to build a channel directly on the Earth. Okay, first communication. Jia Yan looked at the built Stargate. The base was made of unique metal made by Taya Kingdom, which was almost completely different from the one in Zibala. Hiss. Suddenly, within the Stargate ring, lightning-like brilliance lit up. Jia Yan also felt that the clone on the Earth seemed to have a slight physical discomfort. He quickly changed his mind and looked at the clone on the Earth. As soon as he made the transition, he felt that the entire Earth clone was immersed in electric light. A trace of energy was extracted from his body, and then he watched helplessly as part of his fingers turned into particles in the air. Master Jia Yan, I forgot to tell you that this connection will consume part of the body material of your Earth clone. After all, we cannot create matter out of thin air. On the Taya Kingdom side, a scientist seemed to have just thought of something now and hurriedly spoke to Jia Yan. Forget it. It doesn't matter if you use all the clones. Jia Yan shook his head. Don't worry, when the Stargate building is completed, we will make another clone and send it through the Stargate. The scientist smiled strangely, seeming to be very happy to be able to defeat Jia Yan once. Jia Yan simply stopped paying attention to the Earth clones. After all, to him, losing one or two clones did not matter much, especially if the Stargate was built. Then both sides would be able to communicate directly, and he would make another clone to send. It's also very fast to get to Earth. The clone on the Earth side quickly turned into particles, and the Stargate's brilliance became more and more brilliant. Finally, a particle feedback came to the Stargate here. Master Jia Yan, control your clone and say something. A scientist yelled at Jia Yan. At this time, they didn't care about Jia Yan's identity at all, and they looked like crazy scientists. Jia Yan shook his head helplessly, and his thoughts switched to the clone on Earth. Hello. The Earth clone spoke in one sentence. Then the strange thing is that at the Stargate here, after a few dozen seconds, a hoarse voice also sounded. Hello. Haha, it's successful. Although it's just the most basic quantum communication, it's a distance of thousands of light years. We succeeded. A group of scientists almost went crazy, to sing and dance. Hey, didn't you say that the fastest transmission speed of the Stargate is 2 months? Why is there a sound coming only after more than 10 seconds? Jia Yan was surprised to find something suspicious. Sir, you don't understand. Quantum communication requires less energy, and the impact through subspace and gravitational wave systems is not great. If it is just sound, of course it can only take more than 10 seconds. If it is physical matter, it will take 2. It's been a month, and the larger the object, the longer it takes. A scientist explained to Jia Yan with contemptuous eyes. It seems that these guys are very swollen. Jia Yan was speechless, but they succeeded, which was a good thing for Jia Yan. Anyway, he had long been used to a group of stinky scientists. Okay, so now the first step is considered a success. How long will it take before the Stargate can be completely built for teleportation? Jia Yan asked. This, if everything goes well, it will only take half a month to complete. A group of scientists gave the answer. Very good, much faster than I expected. As long as the Stargate is built, the final communication channel for all future generations of mankind will be completed. Jia Yan breathed a long sigh of relief. As long as the Stargate channel is built, there will be a permanent channel between the Earth and the Pacific Kingdom in the future. Not only business, but also exchanges between the two sides will begin quickly. By then, the Earth will become a win-win situation with Pacific Asia. Just when Jia Yan was about to leave, suddenly, a scientist came to Jia Yan. Master Jia Yan, I know that you are a space-talented creature. I have here a calculation rule that I have learned through this construction of the Stargate. Please take a look at it. I hope it can be helpful to you. The scientist handed over an electronic calculator in his hand and ran back to his construction work.